Shall we begin?
Here we are, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Edit. I'm Aggie, and I'm here with my girl, Danny. And today we are so excited to be joined by the one and only
Yes.
Sandra Diaz-Twine, the queen of survivors
The queen!
here. Yes.
I'm so happy. Hey, Aggie, I made that shirt for her after Winter's War.
Good. She deserves it. She is the queen.
You know what, Sandra? I've told you this before. When people were like, who's the greatest to play the game? I'm like, it's not even a question. She won her first 2 times out. Sandra's the best player ever. I had an interview yesterday. I said the exact same thing. You're the queen. We love you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. As a matter of fact, I got on at 10 o'clock this morning by mistake. And at 10:05, I was like, Michael, what time is it I'm supposed to do this? He was like, 10 a.m. for them, 1 p.m. for you. And I'm glad he wrote back in the email because I had put 2 p.m. on my phone. So this would have been a whole mess. But yes, Danny gave me this shirt and another one without sleeves that says Unstoppable. And Sarah Lucina wore that shirt on the challenge.
Yes. Yep. Shout out to Sarah. Love her.
And might I add, it's not only Survivor you've been on. I feel like you've been on my TV like all the time. I'm talking Traders, 99 to Beat with us, and that's where I met you. And now you're absolutely killing it on Extracted. The first episode, in my opinion, was superb. Don't you think, Danny?
Sandra, I am so hooked, and so is my 18-year-old son. I watched last season a little bit, but of course, this season I'm like, I've got to watch Sandra. It is fantastic. Were you happy with the first episode?
I was. They changed a lot of things. I remember when I first saw the first season, and I don't know why I went to Reddit to read the comments from the fans, and there was a lot of things that they said were perfect, but it still needed a little bit of tweaking. And so when it comes to season 2, they tweaked it because they're going to make it really hard. So they listened to the fans, you know? Uh, so that was funny. But yeah, I enjoyed the first episode. And we have a little group chat, and not a lot of the families were happy that they weren't shown as much. But I think when the first episode airs, you got to share that between advertising. So on a 1 hour episode, you're only going to get about 40 something minutes worth of the show. And they have to it's just so much that they have to whittle down to make the story make sense.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job really developing all the characters of the family, though.
Yeah.
I feel like I really get it. I understand each one of them. And then, of course, they had to highlight Olsen and his family since he was being extracted. But I felt like they did a really good job.
I think so
They
too.
absolutely did. And the crazy part is I had to write down Olsa's parents' names just in case you asked me anything, because I really didn't speak to them in the 24 hours that they were there. And for me, I was focusing on the monitors because I knew I was coming in with a target on my back. I was like, there's always one person that knows who I am. It might be threatened by me. And it ended up being 4 families. And so I just sat my tail down and I was straight into the monitor because I was like, Nina, listen, plan B, because you're going to have to be the social butterfly. I don't know who's going to want to either talk to me or even work with me until we get like the ins and outs of exactly what we're going to do. Because, every season is different. So I was like, I'm just going to sit down and just watch Eric and write notes.
Mm-hmm. It was so funny. You walked in just all, hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. But behind this, we know you're the competitor to watch out for, and you're going to slit everybody's throat. You're going to get what you need.
Well, you know what? And a lot of that is just talk. Listen, they want you to talk and you got to be able to deliver. When you go out there and don't say anything or you're way too nice, you're going to get the purple edit we all try not to get on Survivor. But when you're new to to the reality realm and you don't know that, and then you don't see your family or yourself being highlighted a lot, like you learn real quick. It's just talking shit. It's just talking shit just to make sure that there's a little substance to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra, I told Aggie, I was like, okay, my girl, the queen, walks in at the end, like it's like the doors open and the queen comes through on the red carpet. I think it might have been green. I don't remember what the color it was, but I'm like, "Oh, dear God." And then when everybody turns around and like they know immediately who you are. And then we get all the highlights of them talking crap about you. And I thought it was so funny because is it Jessica that's out in the wilderness? Her
Uh-huh.
mom,
Annalise
Stacy,
and
And
Stacy.
Annalise
Annalise?
from Big Brother. Uh,
Yes.
Immediately, Annalise is like, "Mom, that's Sandra. She's cutthroat." And her mom is like, and hey, kudos to Mama Bear, right? She's like, "She better not cross me. I can, give it
Yeah,
right
she
back or
called me
whatever
a
it is."
dirty player, and then she texted me. She was like, "Sandra, I didn't even watch Survivor. I don't even know why I said that." I was like, "Girl, it's okay."
Yeah,
Uh, but
it's
then,
good. We like
but then
that.
the survivors are calling me, and they're like, "What does she mean by dirty?" And I was like, "It has to be like I got muddy on a challenge because." If you're with me on Survivor, and Danny, you can attest to this, like when you're in an alliance, you got those people's back to the end. Everyone
Yes.
that's not in that alliance is who you essentially might do dirty. But for me, there weren't many people um that I ever did anything to. I find myself to be a very loyal person. I fought with Fair Play, who's a known villain. I fought with
Yep.
Russell, who's a known villain. But
Yep.
for me, I was like dirty. Like it's gotta be more of a sense of a mud challenge. Maybe I didn't bathe that day out there and, on Survivor, but it wasn't, I knew that she really didn't know exactly what she
Your
was
game plan.
saying or it wasn't nothing ugly. She didn't know and she just assumed because I had won. And that's the problem too, Danny,
Yes,
that
that's exactly
every
it.
time we go and play these shows, like for instance on Traders, you walk in there and if you're known to be a survivor, the first thing they say is, oh, they're always backstabbing, stabbing, scheming, and
Right.
lying.
Yep.
Not necessarily. Sometimes we're put in that position.
Well, and that's the thing, like, if you truly watch it, some of us are, loyal to the end. It is a game, and then you have that mutual respect of, "Okay, at the end, we have to play this out, to win because that's the goal." And so when she said that about you, I thought, "Well, you're tough as nails, right? You're not gonna put up with anything." But I was like, "Gosh, where was she really dirty?" I thought that same thing. I was like, "I don't really think Sandra is that. I think if somebody is, hey, she's got the knowledge. If I was on Extracted, I would have aligned right up with you to pull from your experience to be able to help my loved one who's out in the wilderness."
Yeah. I'm glad you touched on that because I was getting text messages from survivors and they're like, what the hell does that mean? Because although it's said about me in general, I think we all feel the same and we all feel like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
you can't be a survivor player without someone saying like, we don't all play like that, and there's instances where it's not even called for, but she's fine. Annalise is great. Her mom, Stacy, is great. I think people were just, the minute it ran through HQ that I was the two-time winner of Survivor and I've been on all these other shows, all of a sudden it was like their wall was up, their guard was up, and that was it.
Did they not wanna talk to you as much because of your status, or
I think I was more the one, like, I opened up myself to talk and chat and walk in on people, but I
Mhm.
tried for the first couple of days to seriously be like looking at at the monitor, watching what Eric was doing, watching what everything else was happening, and allowing Nina to jump from table to table and socialize with everyone so that they knew, hey, if you need us for anything,
Yeah,
we're
good.
here. But I wasn't gonna go like, hey, I know you've been here and I'm the two-time where no, no, it was more like who is gonna
Yeah.
want to work with us
This
later on and give them that opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
absolutely. This is gonna be
Mhm.
so fun to watch your whole story on Extracted. I'm so excited.
Me too.
But it seems like Extracted to me, I love it. I feel like it's Hunger Games meets Survivor. It has
A
that
little Big
vibe to
Brother,
it.
though.
Would you say,
A little Big
Aggie?
Brother with watching like, with the cameras.
Sure.
I feel like a
Yeah.
little bit of Big Brother too.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's just so unique. And it has to be, let's talk about Eric a little bit. Okay. Well, actually, we need to talk about Eric a lot, right? And we need to have the three of you guys on too, as Extracted goes
Anytime.
on. um, you made the comment about he's like an armchair quarterback when it comes to Survivor, where he's like, "Oh, I would have done this, I would have done that." And you're ready to see how, is his turn? This is his time out into the wilderness. Do you think that when he got out there, all of a sudden he was like, Oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? And was there a little bit of you that I know they've been together, Nina and Eric have for like 11 years. There had to be a moment where at some point he made her cry, and mamas don't forget that. And when he was out there, you remember that and you're going to make him suffer a little bit more, right?
So with Eric, the crazy thing is, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had the opportunity because I was called after 99 to beat, and this was we went out there in August, so it was in July. It was like a 3 week span from the call to when we went out there. But anyway, they were like, "Hey, we need a two female team because they didn't have that on the first season with a man in the woods."
Interesting.
So that's where me and Nina came in, and they immediately said, "You two have played Survivor. You won't be the ones in the woods. We need someone." And of course, they're looking for someone that's never done it before. And I mentioned it to my husband. Yeah, he's been in the Army 30 years, and he immediately shot it down just to see if they would be open, because they were like, find us some options. And the only other person was Eric. Well, Eric doesn't go into the woods. He went camping one day for 2 days, and he works full time fixing at a collision center. He's a body man fixing all the crashed cars. So it happened so fast. And his boss said yes, but he had to really like put in overtime at work because he had but we're always wrecking, you know. But anyway, so all of Eric's knowledge really ended up being YouTube, and they loved it, you know.
Wow. Mhm.
But for us, it was more like if it wasn't for Eric, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to go out there because no one else, I didn't offer it to anyone else anyway. I knew Eric would be a hit once they met him. But I felt like also me and Nina were sort of putting pressure on him only because of who we are. So you kind of want to like sit back. And all I said was like, "Eric, if you wake up miserable in the morning, you're the only one that could fix that situation. If you wake up cold in the morning, you're the only, if you're hungry, you're the only one out there that can fix that situation. If you get a box from us, that's going to be a bonus, but I wouldn't expect it."
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. It's funny that you said that because I was literally about to ask you, did you decide that you wanted to stay in headquarters? Because you could totally be out there and kill it, but that makes sense.
Yeah, no, from the jump, it was like, your daughter. When I went on 99 to beat, Rachel Riley from Big Brother was the one that called me and said, "Hey, you want to do this show out in London? They're looking for reality stars. There's going to be a handful of you. I don't know who they are." And I was like, "Sign me up. I'll go to London."
Yeah.
So when they called me for this one, they were like, "Hey, we're looking for one or two strategic players to come into HQ just to make sure," because I think they missed the mark on that last season too. A lot of strategy from the jump. And it was like the minute I walk in, now all of a sudden everyone's antennas. But not everyone, I don't think, came to play or realize what it was going to be about until, day 2 or day 3, when now they're like, okay.
Eric Shelter. When they were showing everybody Shelter, I thought I expected a little bit more from him on the Shelter. What happened? What did he spend his time on out there on day one?
So I think the first team went out there like at 6 in the morning.
Oh,
We
wow.
didn't get out there till the evening. So we're like,
Oh,
our team and then Luke's team were the last two. And where Eric ended up being at was very dense. By 6 p.m., it was like total darkness for him. And he said there wasn't a lot but like fallen trees and just limbs. And so he had to go a little ways off to finish his shelter, but we'll see that, I guess, in the next episode. Um, but it's going to be different for everyone. Some people are going to have great sunlight, and there's going to be people that you're going to often see zero sunlight coming through the trees. And that was Eric's situation because he was like,
wow.
it was cold the whole time. And then you're going to see people sunbathe, like finding the spot where there's a little bit of sun. But you
Interesting.
pick your spot.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I mean, so you said some people got out there as early as 6 a.m. They all didn't get dropped, into the woods at the same time.
I
Is
don't
that what
think
you're
you can because it's only one little
only one?
Only one
Okay.
helicopter.
but it's only one Range Rover, and then they come back, pick up a family, take them. You talk for a couple of minutes, then they get on the little plane, and then
Mhm.
they go and do their footage, and then they land, and then they come back. So Danny, you know how that is when we all don't
Yep.
start at the same time, you know, because you
Yeah.
gotta wait
Yeah.
for you know, for us on Survivors, you gotta wait for this tribe to come, and then this tribe to come, and then finally we're all there together, and then they give us instructions, and then now you guys get to ask your questions, and they get to, you know, like it takes a minute.
Yeah, sure. You were talking about some people having sunlight, some not, and it was cold. How cold were they out there? And then how cold were you guys in headquarters? Because everybody looked like they were chilly at headquarters, wrapped up in blankets.
I think it's because there's so many cameras in headquarters that I guess the heat comes through because it's really lit. It's a lot of monitors. Everything is hot. So they constantly have the AC blowing, I think because of
Sure.
their equipment. So they provide the blankets because they know it's going to be cold for us, but it was already cold in Canada anyway.
Yeah. Ugh, that's the thing, Survivor, I can handle the heat. I can't handle the cold, so I'm like, "How are they doing it out there, especially without fire?" And that leads me to my other question was the supply drop, supply grab. I was like, "This is a playing field for Sandra." It was like reminded me of the auctions back in the day on Survivor. I was like, "Oh, she knew exactly how to handle this." And I think it might have been Daniel or his group that said Sandra got everything that she wanted. I mean, you look like you just went in there and just schooled everybody on that.
Boom.
I got
Yes.
lucky on that one. And here's the crazy part. We were talking strategy with our side of the room, saying, hey, if we got to pick a order, let's pick order so that we can all swap between ourselves. And here I am being naive to the Olsons, and not the Olsons, to Luke and David and Daniel, the ones trying to set me up, you
Yeah.
know? Um
That failed.
yeah. It was a failure. I didn't know anything about it until after it, you know, after we left from there and Elise had mentioned it to us. So I was waiting for it and waiting to see if they were gonna show it. But anyway, we were trying to talk and strategize, and then Olsen's family was already going through the drama of him wanting to go home. So we were like, guys, remember on season one, because we watched it like 3 times before going out there. We were like, remember on season one, people get supplies and then they go home. Like this kid wants to, from the minute he woke up, he wasn't having none of it. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So we were like, if we let them go to the front of the line, they're going to get something good. And then still go home. You know, like it's not right. But we had talked briefly with them, like, hey, when you guys go in there, we're willing to trade with you guys. And they were like, yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's fine. We'll let them go first. And, you know, they gave us the rules. We found out that we were going to be trading. We said we were going to go in third. The people next to us moved, and then there was like everyone kept moving, but me and Nina, we stuck to our guns, which we ended up having like an argument with the side of the room about, you know, Eric wasn't doing that bad. I mean, he had a bad shelter, but they felt like we shouldn't have gotten the second spot. But to be honest, they were only fighting about it because of who I was.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
oh, Sandra got a little bit of everything, which Eric got matches, 5 matches. We didn't know it was only going to be five. Every match counts. We got the sleeping bag and we got a canteen of water. When Jessica Ray's family walked up there with the canteens of water, we didn't want canteens of water immediately. Everyone like shot them down, you know, because your loved one has canteens. Um, so then they sat back down, but like at the last minute, we were like, screw it, we'll give you guys a sleeping bag and we'll swap it for a canteen of water, which ended up being a saving grace.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's what I always say is you need fire and you need water. Like those would have been my things. Did they have to boil their water out there? And did you have things to boil it?
Yeah, they're gonna end up having to. They're gonna keep telling them like, "Hey, if you're gonna use the water from the lake, make sure you boil it." But that's everywhere. I think when they had their safety briefing, which they had prior, you know, they give them safety. Everything was like, just don't drink the water, boil it first.
Mhm. And speaking of safety, right at, like, the beginning, we see Olsen have an encounter with a bear, which was absolutely terrifying to watch. I mean, so did they talk to you about the wildlife as well, and, like, what you could possibly encounter out there and what you should do?
Well, that part of the area has an abundance of bears. You knew you were going to encounter them, including us. We weren't very far from them. So we had horns also at night. like when the crew is all in bed and everything like that, and there's a shortage of people. So we had air horns all over the place just in case there was a bear. I never saw one, but all the survivalists, I think every single person out there encountered one bear minimum, if not several.
You know what? Is it RJ? RJ, the big defensive tackle,
Yeah,
NFL
RJ.
football player? RJ? I think that's the only person that the Bears would have been scared of because that guy could have taken one down
He
easily.
could
That would have
have.
been great TV, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. But there was bears everywhere. And the danger is when you see the baby bears. You know mamas don't be playing.
Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I couldn't do that. There's no way. If I saw a bear, that would be it.
I mean, were you and Nina able to sleep at night, at least the first night, knowing that Eric was out there, kind of by himself and
Yeah, so we told Eric from the jump, because I saw some of the podcasts from the season 1 people. And so in one of them, they gave us a tidbit, and I was like, Eric, when it's time for you to go to sleep and when you're done, like talk to the camera and let us know, hey guys, I'm going to sleep, because Eric will sleep through the whole night. Like, we don't want to sit there and watch you if we don't have to. We want to be well rested as well.
Fresh mind.
So Eric
Yep.
would give us a nightcap, like everything he did throughout the day. And he'd be like, okay, guys, I'm going to sleep now. And then in the morning, he'd tell us how he slept and what he wanted to accomplish that day. And that's how we end up just working out our system. But I didn't feel bad about going to bed on the first night, because once he was tucked in, that was it. That was a wrap.
Yeah. Gosh, I think it'd be hard if it's your kid out there watching some I'm like, I don't know if I would maybe try to go to sleep so you have a sound mind the next day to be able to work to their benefit, but I don't know if I'd ever be able to sleep.
Well, I get up, like, I use the bathroom, I don't know why, at night more than I do during the day. And there were several times throughout every night that I'd get up and do a quick check in HQ, especially after the blanket situation where I was like on that side
Yes.
of the room. The snacks were always laid out right there. I never saw this damn blanket. I never even saw the red box, to be honest with you. And then, I'm sitting there telling Daniel, I was like, man, that was awesome. Like, I'm giving him props because he found the blanket, and not realizing that this dude the whole time is just like super jealous of me, very conniving, very like just he came in, I feel like, with the wrong mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he tried to frame you. He tried to put the
Yeah.
glass over by you. I was like, "Oh, don't mess with the queen. She'll get
Uh-uh.
you."
Well, even if
Yeah.
that would have panned out for him, it really wouldn't have worked, because why the fuck would I give, and excuse my language, his brother a blanket? He's doing like he built his shelter right away. He's out there with fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, it was
Yeah.
before
Oh,
the fire.
yeah, it doesn't make
Anyway,
sense. Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
can't give it to Eric, I'll give it to a female before I give it to this dude. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
True.
That would have
Yep.
never, girl, that would have never
Yeah.
worked.
Oh, Aggie, by the way, when Sandra left Winners at War, she gave me several articles of her clothing so I could stay warm out
Yeah.
there. Mhm.
So
Yep.
sweet.
Yes. So, yeah, no, she wouldn't have given them to Rob.
Oh
She
no.
would have given them to me.
There's certain people I wouldn't have given crap to, but there's others I'm like,
Yeah.
because we're limited
Um,
in what we have, and I really take care of my clothes. I always have my nighttime clothes and my during the day get dirty clothes, and I kept them clean because I want to smell good at night, and then my sweaty dirty that no matter what, if we roll in mud or dirt, I don't care. But, for me it was like only thinking maybe I would wish somebody would do that for me if I'm cold at night and suffering.
yeah.
It's not easy doing
Yep.
Survivor. It's not.
No. No, it's awful. Now, in Extracted, it seems like the challenges that they're gonna have at headquarters are challenges that really work to your strength because you have to maneuver, shift, strategize, and I think, you're the queen of strategizing. I know you can't say much, obviously, what's going on in the game moving forward, but I feel like this is your arena when it comes to the challenges you're gonna face on Extracted.
Yeah and no, because you know what? We go in thinking, okay, we did our homework on season 1. We're gonna go in the supply room and we're always gonna always get something no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Girl, no. No. So it's like no matter how
My
much you
gosh.
prepare, you're not gonna always really be prepared. And you gotta know when to pull back and when to be like, no, this is where I draw the line, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And listen,
I
I
know.
remember days in, having a conversation with a couple of the moms whose kids were like struggling out there. And I'm not going to say that I lit a fire under their tails, but in essence, I told several of them at different times, talking one on one. I was like, I would hate for my loved one to tell me that they wish they had someone else in HQ that had their back and got them the supplies they needed. And I think after that little conversation, a lot of these teams are going to like bring it up a notch, because you can't let the same people always steamroll. Although I may be a steamroller at times, I'm not always. I know when to push and when to hold back. But there's always those people that come in and they want to be nice to everybody. Well, listen, if you want your loved one to make it far, you got to decide when enough nice, when you can't be
Yeah.
nice anymore,
Yep.
pretty much.
Yep.
We're almost at time here, so we're gonna dive into these rapid fire questions.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
know.
All right, Sandra. So I'm going to give you a few questions. So you keep them short and sweet.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. The first question is, being a mom, and although Olson is a competitor and his family, they're competition for you, was it hard to see him break down like that and get extracted?
No.
That's what I figured. It's competition, right? Get him out there. What does your husband think of this whole reality world with you and now Nina?
He laughs at how crazy it is and how I make my money, my good
Yeah.
money.
Yep. It's time for mama to go to work, right? Each time you do a show. What reality shows out there? You've accomplished so much and you've been on so many, but what is one that you haven't been on that you would like to venture into?
That one's hard to be rapid fire.
Come
I
on,
would
Dancing
take a
with the
dabble at
Stars,
worst cooks
Sandra.
in America. Worst cooks in America. Because at different stages of my life, I think I would have done other things, but now at 51, girl, stop it. I'm not running nowhere.
I think a fun one would be like a holiday decorating contest because we know how much you love Christmas. And I think you'd be really good on something
Yeah,
like
but I'm
that.
not
I
at
don't
a
think it
level of
exists, but
Hallmark Channel. I'm trying to
yeah.
get there.
um, okay, if you had to choose a reality show for Nina and Eric to be on, not together, but just separately, what reality shows do you think they would thrive on the most?
For Eric, probably something like 99 to Beat. For
Yeah.
Nina, something like The Amazing Race and Separate. Yes, ma'am.
Well, Eric, it's funny because you said he works with like repairs on cars, the collision. That makes sense. He would be really good on 99 to beat. I would
Let's
love that. That'd
see.
be awesome. Um, okay. Do you get recognized everywhere you go? Like the grocery store, Home Depot, the airport? No?
No, a lot of times I think people see me and they're like, where do I know this girl from? Only when it's diehard Survivor fans or I'm going to an event where they're expecting me is when then they're on top of me. Other than that, no.
Of all the reality shows you've done, which one have you enjoyed like the cast and crew the most?
Survivor will always be my heart.
Yeah.
Survivor will always
It's
be my heart. Look at the friendships. It's been 23 years for me.
Yep. And how did you start with Survivor? I mean, I know, you have to send in a video and all that, but what inspired you?
I was getting out of the army after 5 years, and I saw Jeff said, if you think you have what it takes, go to CBS.com. And like a lot of people say, I swear, that man was talking to me. And well, you said it was rapid fire, girl. This answer is not quick.
No, that's true.
Look, that year, my husband and I gifted each other a computer and a home printer. We never had a computer or printer in the home. And I printed out the application and I sent it in. My video came out last year. It's out
Wow.
there for people to see. I made that video. I never made a copy. I submitted it. It was sent to to the Survivor vault, and I never
Uh-huh.
saw it ever again. Someone
Wow.
that had access to all those videos have been putting them online, and that video surfaced. Never
What did
had
you
it ever
think of it?
seen. And it was just
I
me
would
saying, like, I got a hoopty for a ride. I'm tired of playing bingo and the lotto. I need to go get my $1,000,000. Da, da, da. My husband doesn't have faith in me. He thinks I'll be the first one voted off. And when I win my million, I'm not giving him shit. And then I won my million. And he's married, so he gets half.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, what did he feel like when mama brings home the first million?
Shock because I didn't believe it, he didn't believe it, and we tossed and turned about it. Because remember back then it was a live vote when they would read out the live vote on at the finale. So I just thought Lil won. I thought Parvati won. I never thought
Mhm.
I won.
Wow. Wow, how exciting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, last question, will you retire?
I always say I am, and then somebody calls me about something else.
Yeah,
I think I'm
yeah,
like Rob said it, and Tony, and even Parvati, like, we're trying to do the easy good jobs. You know what I'm saying? This
yeah.
suffering and naked and afraid and all that. No.
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 Oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like the same. We're not gonna retire until, like, the game takes us out for good. That's what I feel like.
Mhm.
Sandra, thank you so much for taking the time. We know you're so busy. We wanted to have you on after like 99 to beat, but then it got so crazy with so many contestants on 99 to beat. And that adventure with you, even though it was short lived because a team game
Yeah.
took you out, we enjoyed you there and I enjoyed getting to spend one day in London with you. That was
Thank
fun.
you. I
Yes, it
appreciate
was.
you guys and I love you guys. And it's crazy how we do these shows and we come out of there with new family members. Like it really is.
Yep.
Really.
That's the best part of all of this. And thank you so much. And we hope that you, Nina, and Eric can join us at some point here during the season.
Anytime you guys
We're
want.
gonna have fun watching it unfold. Okay,
Aw.
awesome. Well, we love you. Thank you so much. And all of you guys remember to like and subscribe to Beyond the Edit. And you know what? Stay tuned because there will be more extracted.
Yes, there will. Bye, guys.